That was nice and easy. So why don't we do the same thing with Navbar CSS file where we can set up all our styles. And for this, obviously, we're going to be working in the Navbar SASS file. And then we always need to make sure that we're also importing here. And obviously, this is not something that I'm doing. So before we add any kind of styles, why don't we also import this? And then we're just going to be looking for the SASS file. So in this case, since this is not going to be JavaScript, we need to look for Navbar, and then the name is going to be SCSS. Hopefully, this is going to work out. And why don't we head over back here and add some kind of styles? Well, first and foremost, I would like to use the variables because I have all my colors for the variables. If you remember in the index SAS file, we set up the main black, the green, white, and gray. And now, obviously, for the navbar, I would like to use it since you can see that we are using the black color for the navbar. And how we can do that? Well, first of all, we're going to head over back to a navbar one. And here we would need to import the index CSS. Otherwise, this is not going to work. So let me show you how you would fail if you wouldn't do that. So first of all, we're going to be targeting the class of navbar. So first of all, let me head over back here. The selection wasn't correct. So I'm targeting the class of navbar, and I would like to have the background. And here I would like to use the color of $ main black. So this would be the syntax. But the moment I'm going to save it, notice there's going to be undefined variable. And like I said, the reason for that is very simple. So in order to use these variables, we're going to have to do the import, and now we're going to be looking for our index SAS file. So here again, we're going to have to leave the folder. So 2 dots, again, another 2 dots. So leave the second folder, and then we're looking for index and SAS. However, there's one more thing. We always need to also include the semicolon. Then you're still going to have your error otherwise. And here we go. On the right hand side, we can see that we have successfully added the color. Then I also would like to do a little bit of padding. Padding is going to be 0.5 rems top bottom, 1 rem left and right. It's going to be something like this. And then also we're going to display it as a grid. So display as a grid. But then we're going to use the property of grid template. And then we're looking for the columns, which we're going to set up the columns. And here we can write, well, what would be the column sizes? Since this is going to be our logo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say auto. So I would want this logo to be displayed the way it is. And then the links, which is going to be here on our list, are going to be displayed as one fraction. What does that mean? Well, that means that the links are going to take the rest of the space. And that's simple as that. What else we're going to have? Well, also, what I would like to do later on is set up these links as a inline elements. However, since they're going to be smaller than my nav here, I would also like to set them all in the center. So I'm going to say align items, and we're going to be looking for the center, something like this. At the moment, you don't see anything because obviously we haven't worked with these on our list, but the moment we do, you'll see the difference. And here, let's do nav links. So we're going to be looking for the links. And here we're going to have list style type is going to be none. Because even though we cannot see it right now, there's these annoying dots, and I would like to get rid of them. So list style type is going to be equal to a none. Then we also have display grid. So for the on our list as well, we would like to display it as a grid. So display grid. I'm going to save it. Nothing is going to happen. But then we're going to set up a 3-column layout. So grid template columns. And now instead of writing explicitly what kind of columns will be, we're going to use the repeat function. Within the repeat function, we have 2 things that we can write. One would be how many columns, and then the second one is going to be how wide they're going to be. So in our case, I'm going to say 3 columns, and they're all going to be spanning equally the same. So I'm going to save it like this, and now I can see that I have my 3 links. That would be the difference. Also, I would like to align it in the center. So I'm going to say text align center, something like this. Now everything is going to be in center. And now why don't we target each and every link that we have here? And for that, remember we had the class of nav link. And here I would like, first of all, color change. So the color is going to be main, not black, but we're going to go with main gray. That's going to be my color for my links. I also would want a text decoration to be capitalized. So we're going to, or I'm sorry, text transform is going to be our first one. So text transform is going to be capitalized. Now my links are going to be capitalized. Text decoration is going to be equal to none. So no annoying underline. And then we were going to increase a little bit of font size. Let's say 1.2 REMs. So the links are going to be a little bit bigger, as well as I'm hovering over these links, I would like to change the color. And for this, obviously, we're going to have to use the hover selector. However, here's the kicker. Within the SASS, we don't have to, again, write a new rule. We don't have to say nav link, then hover. Instead, we can write this nested. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to say ampersand. And now this is going to mean that I'm talking about these links. So as I'm hovering the links, I can write whatever I would like. So here I'm going to say color is going to be equal to the main, and we're going to be looking for green. That's going to be our color. And now as I'm going to be hovering over the links, the color is going to be green. However, last for the link, I would like to add a little bit transitioning because now the change is happening instantly. But instead, I would like to do something like this where I have the transition, and transition is going to be all for all the properties. And obviously here we're writing the shorthand. Normally, probably you would write the long ways where we have property, transition property, then the transition timing and all that. But we're just going to use the shorthand property where the first thing what we're saying is what properties, and we're just going to say all of them. Then we're going to write how long. This is going to be 0.3 seconds, and how the actual transition is going to take place. And we're just going to go with linear. And sure enough, what we see right now is that change is being applied over time. And last but not least, why don't we talk about the active class? Remember the class that we added for the last link of tours. So that would be, let's say, the page that's being currently open. But again, in our case, there's going to be only one page anyway. And here we're going to have main green. So why don't I use my colors again? Main green. We save it. And now this tours is going to be main green by default. We can also check it out on a bigger screen. So why don't I open up a new browser window? Then I'm going to be looking for not 8,000, but for 3,000. And yeah, this is going to be our tours. In my opinion, looks really well. We are done with our navbar component, and we can start working on our next components.